Not every gift is a blessing. Some gifts are traps, and some money carries a curse heavier than poverty itself. When greed blinds the eyes, people forget to ask, where did this money come from? Why is it given so easily? But life always finds a way to remind us. In a busy African town called Mafikeng lived 3 young women. Their names were Nokuthula, Kasai, and Tizetso. They were beautiful, lively, and admired by everyone. But they loved one thing above all else, money. The 3 friends spent their days walking around the town market. They would look at the fine clothes in the shops. They would touch the gold jewelry and dream of owning it. They would watch rich men drive by in big cars and wish they could ride in them. One day, Nokuthula would say, "We will have all these things. We will wear the best clothes and eat the best food." Yes, Kasai would agree. We are too beautiful to be poor. Rich men should take care of us. Tizetso would nod and smile. Money is the key to happiness. Without money, what is life? The 3 friends made a promise to each other. They would never settle for poor men. They would only accept gifts from wealthy strangers. They believed this was the fastest way to escape their simple lives. One sunny morning, a big black car drove into Mafikeng. The car was so shiny that it hurt the eyes to look at it. The driver stepped out wearing expensive clothes and gold chains around his neck. Word spread quickly through the town. A rich man has come. A very rich man. Nokuthula, Kasai, and Tizetso heard the news and ran to see him. They found him at the best hotel in town, drinking cold beer and counting money. The man's name was Bongani. He had thick arms and a loud laugh. When he saw the 3 beautiful young women, his eyes lit up like fire. "Come here, my beautiful sisters," he called to them. "Let me buy you drinks. Let me show you what real money looks like." The 3 friends looked at each other and smiled. This was what they had been waiting for. They walked over to Bongani with confidence, their hearts beating fast with excitement. Bongani was very generous with his money. He bought the 3 friends new dresses, new shoes, and gold earrings. He took them to the most expensive restaurant in town and ordered the best food. "Eat whatever you want," he told them. "Money is nothing to me. I have more than I can count." Nokuthula ordered chicken and rice. Kasai ordered fish and vegetables. Tizetso ordered meat and bread. They ate until their stomachs were full and happy. After the meal, Bongani gave each of them an envelope full of money. "This is just the beginning," he said. "If you are good to me, I will give you much more." The 3 friends had never held so much money at one time. They felt like queens. They thanked Bongani and promised to see him again the next day. That night, they could not sleep. They counted their money over and over. They planned how they would spend it. They felt like the luckiest women in the world. Nokuthula's mother saw her daughter's new dress and jewelry. She was worried. "My daughter, where did you get these expensive things?" she asked. "A generous man gave them to me, mother," Nokuthula replied. "But who is this man? What does he do for work? Why is he giving you gifts?" her mother asked with concern. Nokuthula laughed. "Mother, you worry too much. The man has money, and he wants to share it. That is all I need to know." Her mother shook her head. "My child, be careful. Not all gifts are good gifts. Some come with a price that is too high to pay." But Nokuthula did not listen. She was too excited about the money and gifts. She believed her mother was just jealous and old-fashioned. Kasai and Tizetso received similar warnings from their families. But they also ignored them. They thought their families were trying to stop them from becoming rich and happy. Word spread about the generous rich man in Mafikeng. Soon, more wealthy strangers began to visit the town. They came in expensive cars and stayed in the best hotels. They all seemed to have plenty of money to spend on young women. There was Mandla, who wore diamond rings and had gold teeth. There was Sifo, who carried briefcases full of cash. There was Themba, who bought drinks for everyone in the bars. The three friends were in heaven. They had so many rich men competing for their attention. Each man tried to give them better gifts than the others. Nokuthula was the boldest of them all. She believed life was too short to worry about the source of wealth. Clothes, jewelry, phones, whatever she wanted, she took. And she laughed at girls who lived simply. "Look at those foolish girls," she would say, pointing at women who worked honest jobs. "They waste their beauty on poor men and hard work. We are smarter than that." After 2 weeks of gifts and parties, something strange happened. Kasai began to have bad dreams every night. In her dreams, she saw dark places and heard people crying for help. She would wake up sweating and afraid. "I keep having nightmares," she told her friends. "I dream about being trapped in a dark room. I dream about people who are hurt and cannot escape." Nokuthula and Tizetso told her not to worry. "You are just tired from all the parties," they said. "Dreams mean nothing. Look at all the money we have. Look at all the nice things. We should be happy, not worried." But Kasai's dreams got worse each night. She began to lose weight. She began to look tired and scared during the day. The gifts no longer made her smile. One morning, Kasai went to her grandmother for advice. Her grandmother was very old and wise. "Grandmother, I have been receiving gifts from rich men, but now I have terrible dreams. What does this mean?" Her grandmother looked at her with sad eyes. "Child, some money is cursed. Some gifts come from evil work. Your spirit is trying to warn you. Listen to your dreams before it is too late." Despite her grandmother's warning, Kasai continued to accept gifts from the rich men. She was too afraid to give up the money and return to her poor life. One evening, a new rich man came to town. His name was Jabu, and he was different from the others. He was quieter, but his gifts were more expensive. He gave Kasai a gold necklace that cost more than her family's house. "Come with me to the city," Jabu told Kasai. "I will show you a life of luxury that you have never imagined. You will live like a queen." Kasai was tempted. The city meant more money, more gifts, more excitement. She agreed to go with Jabu. She told Nokuthula and Tizetso that she would be back in a few days. She packed her few belongings and got into Jabu's expensive car. As they drove away, she waved goodbye to her friends. That was the last time anyone in Mafikeng saw Kasai. Days passed. Then weeks. Kasai did not return. Her family became worried and went to the police. But the police could not find Jabu or his car. It was as if they had disappeared into thin air. Kasai's mother cried every day. She walked through the town asking if anyone had heard from her daughter. She went to the police station every morning, hoping for news. But there was no news. "My daughter was a good girl," she would tell people. "She was just fooled by easy money. Please, if you see her, tell her to come home." Some people said Kasai had run away to a bigger city to live with her rich boyfriend. Others whispered darker things. They said she had been sold. They said she had been taken to a place where young women were forced to work against their will. Nokuthula and Tizetso were shocked and scared. For the first time, they began to wonder if their pursuit of easy money was dangerous. But they still could not bring themselves to stop accepting gifts. "Maybe Kasai is happy in the city," Nokuthula said, trying to convince herself. "Maybe she is living in a big house and wearing expensive clothes every day." But deep in her heart, she was beginning to fear that something terrible had happened to her friend. After Kasai's disappearance, Tizetso became even more desperate for money and gifts. She thought that if she collected enough wealth, she could protect herself from whatever had happened to Kasai. A rich man named Tabo began to shower her with expensive gifts. He gave her a new phone, gold bracelets, and beautiful dresses. He took her to fancy restaurants and bought her whatever she wanted. "You are special," Tabo told her. "You deserve the best things in life. I will take care of you forever." Tizetso was happy with the attention and gifts. She felt safe and loved. She began to spend all her time with Tabo, accepting more and more expensive presents. But after a few weeks, Tizetso began to feel sick. She had headaches that would not go away. She felt weak and tired all the time. Her stomach hurt, and she could not eat properly. "I think I need to see a doctor," she told Tabo. "You are just tired," he replied. "Here, take this medicine." He gave her pills that he said would make her feel better. But the pills made her feel worse. She became more weak and confused. She began to lose weight rapidly. Tizetso's condition got worse every day. She could barely walk. Her beautiful skin became pale and dry. Her eyes lost their brightness. She looked like a different person. Her family took her to the hospital. The doctors ran many tests, but they could not find what was wrong with her. They gave her different medicines, but nothing worked. "We cannot explain her illness," the doctors told her family. "Her body is failing, but we do not know why." Tizetso's mother was heartbroken. "My daughter was healthy and strong. What happened to her? What did those rich men do to her?" As Tizetso lay in the hospital bed, she thought about her choices. She remembered her grandmother's warnings about cursed money. She remembered Keisai's nightmares. She began to understand that the gifts had come with a price. "Nokuthula," she whispered when her friend came to visit. "I think the money was cursed. I think we made a mistake." But it was too late for Tizetso. Her body continued to waste away. After 2 months in the hospital, she died. She was only 22 years old. Nokuthula stood at Tizetso's funeral with tears streaming down her face. She looked at her friend's thin body in the coffin and felt sick with fear and guilt. In 6 months, she had lost both of her best friends. Keisai had disappeared without a trace. Tizetso had died from a mysterious illness. Both tragedies had happened after they started accepting gifts from rich strangers. For the first time, Nokuthula began to understand what her mother had tried to tell her. Not all gifts were good. Some money carried curses. Some wealthy men had evil intentions. She thought about all the gifts she had received. She thought about all the money she had taken without asking questions. She wondered what price she would have to pay. That night, Nokuthula could not sleep. She heard Keisai's voice calling for help. She saw Tizetso's pale face looking at her with sad eyes. She realized that she had been blind to the danger. "I have to change," she said to herself. "I have to stop accepting these gifts before something terrible happens to me too." From that day forward, Nokuthula became a different person. When rich strangers approached her with gifts, she politely refused. When they offered her money, she said no thank you. When they invited her to expensive restaurants, she declined. The wealthy men were surprised. They were not used to being rejected by young women in Mafikeng. "Why do you refuse my gifts?" Bongani asked her one day. "I am offering you more money than you have ever seen." "I have learned that some gifts are not worth taking," Nokuthula replied. "I prefer to earn my own money through honest work." Bongani laughed. "You are foolish, girl. You will always be poor with that attitude." But Nokuthula was not tempted. She had seen what happened to those who chased easy wealth. She had learned her lesson at a terrible cost. She got a job at a local shop selling vegetables. The work was hard, and the pay was small. But the money was honest, and her conscience was clean. As time passed, the people of Mafikeng began to notice Nokuthula's behavior. They saw how she refused gifts from rich men. They saw how she worked hard for small amounts of money. They began to whisper about her. Why does Nokuthula always refuse rich men's gifts? Some people asked. Is she proud? Is she cursed? Maybe she thinks she is better than the rest of us, others said. Perhaps she is waiting for an even richer man, some suggested. But Nokuthula did not care about the whispers. She knew the truth about what had happened to her friends. She carried their memory in her heart every day. Sometimes, young women would come to her asking for advice about wealthy suitors. A rich man wants to give me gifts, they would say. Should I accept them? Nokuthula would look at them with serious eyes. Ask yourself this question: why is a stranger giving you gifts? What does he want in return? If you cannot answer these questions, then the gifts are dangerous. Most of the young women did not listen to her advice. They thought she was jealous or crazy. But a few were wise enough to hear the warning in her words. As the months passed, Nokuthula watched sadly as more young women in Mafikeng fell into the same trap that had caught her and her friends. The rich strangers kept coming to town, looking for beautiful girls who wanted easy money. A girl named Polisa accepted gifts from a wealthy man and then disappeared one night. Her family never found her. Another girl named Lorado became mysteriously ill after spending weeks with a rich stranger. Like Tizetso, she died young and unexpectedly. Nokuthula tried to warn these girls, but they would not listen. The promise of money and luxury was too tempting. They thought bad things only happened to other people. I am smarter than Kasai and Tizetso, Polisa had said before she disappeared. I know how to handle rich men. I will take their gifts but keep myself safe. But wisdom cannot be bought with money. Safety cannot be guaranteed by cleverness. The girls who chased easy wealth continued to pay terrible prices. Nokuthula's heart broke a little more each time she heard about another victim. She wished she could save them all, but she had learned that people must choose their own paths. Years passed, and Nokuthula remained single and poor by the town's standards. But she was alive, healthy, and free. She had her dignity intact and her conscience clear. She often thought about Kasai and Tizetso. She wondered what would have happened if they had listened to the warnings. She wondered what would have happened if she had been wise enough to warn them earlier. But she also understood that their story had served a purpose. Their tragedy had opened her eyes to the truth about cursed money and dangerous gifts. Their deaths had taught her the value of honest poverty over dishonest wealth. Better to sleep hungry with dignity, she would say to herself, than to eat well from a plate of poison. She began to share this wisdom with anyone who would listen. She told the story of her two friends to young women who were tempted by wealthy strangers. Some listened, some did not. But she continued to try to save others from the same fate. Nokuthula understood that her refusal of rich men's gifts was not about pride or waiting for someone better. It was about survival. It was about learning from tragedy. It was about choosing life over luxury. Today, Nokuthula is older and wiser. She runs a small business selling vegetables in the market. She has enough money to eat, to pay rent, and to help her family when they need it. She is not rich, but she is content. When people ask her why she never married a wealthy man, she smiles sadly and tells them about Kasai and Tizetso. She explains how the pursuit of easy money destroyed her best friends. She shares the hard-learned lesson about cursed gifts and dangerous strangers. Some people understand her story and thank her for the warning. Others think she is just making excuses for her simple life. But Nokuthula knows the truth, and that is enough for her. She carries the lesson deep in her heart: not every gift is a blessing. Some gifts are traps, and some money carries a curse heavier than poverty itself. Every morning, she wakes up grateful to be alive and free. Every evening, she goes to sleep with a clean conscience. She has learned that true wealth is not measured in gold and jewelry, but in peace of mind and honest living. The story of Kasai, Tizetso, and Nokuthula continues to be told in Mafikeng. Mothers tell it to their daughters. Grandmothers tell it to their granddaughters. It serves as a warning about the dangers of greed and the importance of asking questions before accepting gifts from strangers. This is the tale of Nokuthula, the woman who learned to refuse rich men's gifts because she understood their true cost. Let it remind us all that not every gift is worth taking. Share this story with someone you care about, and subscribe for more African folktales that open eyes and protect hearts. The wisdom lives on. When someone offers you something that seems too good to be true, ask yourself why. The answer might save your life.